Another nest that we've taken a peek at, but we can look at again now, is our heron's nest. Again, it's very close to where the marsh harriers are. Got 3 nests down there, all on the ground, all raised up on some low, very low trees amongst the reeds. This is the one that we're looking at. It's got 3 youngsters. I know they look quite like adults, but they're quite mature. Eggs were laid way back in March. Static at the moment, of course, this time of the evening, but there's been plenty of activity at the nest. They have been leaving, semi-fledging, jumping out to the surrounding vegetation, so there's more space for them, I think, to exercise their wings. And you can just see on the top of that one's head some down, betraying the fact that it is a youngster. This one takes off to a nearby perch and does plenty of wing exercising there, and you can see the wings are pretty mature. Those feathers are quite a long way down, still needing to practice to keep its balance, still making mistakes. You don't want to do that, mate. No, that was a step too far, that one. So there they are, spread out on the nest. We've been witnessing an enormous variety of prey coming into this nest. And that's not surprising. Again, herons are very opportunistic, feeding on all sorts of things, from frogs to fish to small mammals. Just take a look at this and put your knife and your fork down if you're eating yourself. The adult comes back in, regurgitates the food. That's what they do. They have to carry it back in their crop. And a ferocious fight breaks out between the 3 youngsters as to who gets the eel. Yes, it's an eel. Now, initially, as you can see there, they've all got hold of their bit of the slippery eel. 2 in the foreground have got, I presume, what remains of its head, and the one at the back there has got its tail. But listen to the sound. They are determined not to lose their eel. Now, that one a little bit comes off, and that one quickly gulps it, but then it's back in at the action. Unfortunately, the bird on the left hasn't swallowed that quickly enough. And this is a tug-of-war to end all tug-of-wars. I love the sound. And look at the way they're erecting their plumes as well. They're displaying to one another. And the eye, Nick, the eye.
It's manic, isn't it? It's got that manic look, and it's like, I am not going to let go. Who's your money on?
Yeah,
right or the left?
Look,
oh,
nearly got it, but he didn't swallow it quick enough. And the one at the back's given up. And then finally, a last tug. And look at the speed.
Yay!
The eel slides down. Now, kids, do not try that at home at the dinner table with some spaghetti. Well, if you do, then tape it on your phone and send it in to us, because we'd love to see you reenacting the Battle of the Eel.
Do you know, I think they're fabulous, those chicks. I mean, they're boisterous, they're noisy, they're messy. They're actually probably going to fledge. They're 53 days old, so
yeah.
they could fledge any time. But can you imagine? I mean, after that tug of eel, that meal deal, all that slime all over them, and then the fish comes in, all the fish scales all over them. You can imagine they get really messy, and it's really important for them to stay clean. So how do they do that? Well, they have their very own dry shampoo and comb. Oh, yes, folks. Let me show you on this rather marvellous heron here. You can see... I'll go this side, shall I? So they have these incredible feathers. They're specialised feathers that don't moult. Instead, they break down into powder patches. And they have them in 3 areas. There's one under these feathers on the rump. There's one on the inguinal area, which is the sort of scrotum area, isn't it?
The inguinal, groin.
One on the groin.
The groin.
And one on the breast here. So those are the patches. They're, as I say, they break down into a dry powder, and that's a sort of dry shampoo, and they use it like this. So they get their beaks, and then they rub them into those patches. They get some of that powder onto their beaks, and then they rub their beaks onto their messy feathers, and then that powder will absorb the fish slime and the oil, clean them up, and replenish the feathers. And then they'll go back and they'll get some more powder and clean some more of their scruffy feathers. And look at them, I mean, they do look pretty good, don't they? They look pretty clean. And sometimes you can see that a puff of that powder come out. So when they shake themselves, look at that. I mean, that looks like it's full of talcum powder, doesn't it? And again, it's like a great big little puff of dry shampoo coming out of them.
Yeah.
I like that.
They have another adaptation as well called a pectinate claw. A pectinate claw. Pectinate means a row of narrow notches all lined up. And here's a model we've got of the heron's pectinate claw. Now, it's not just herons that have these. We see them on cormorants, we see them on egrets, we see them on bitterns, but rather curiously, we also see them on nightjars and dippers. It used to be thought that they were used for combing out ectoparasites, but why wouldn't many other species of birds have them? There's clearly another function for them. It could be that they are used. Here you can see the pectinate claw on the centre toe of the heron, and there is no doubt at all that they scratch the powder down areas, and then maybe using that claw they reach the parts of the body which the beak can't reach. The chin, the back of the head and the neck, where they have to scratch themselves, rather like a mammal, rather than use their beak to preen. And here you can see a close-up of that pectinate claw. Really, really neat. So what they do is they probably have a little scratch like that.
Oh, look at that.
There, we've got our own powder down on there like that.
I like that
and
a lot.
They would use their long leg to come up and scratch the back of them. In fact, I'm going to bend this like that. Like that. Oh, no,
don't mess it
I've
up.
completely
It's
ruined it.
beautiful.
Okay, never
It's
mind.
beautiful.
The interesting thing is, you know, we all carry our own pectinate claw, don't we? In the form of a comb. And look at it. That is pectinate.
Yeah, but do you have your own stash of white powder in your pocket? I have, and I'm happy to share. I've got my dry shampoo. On it goes. There you go. You can put it through your hair, and you can look as clean as
I've never used this stuff ever.
a little heron chick. It's a beautiful thing, isn't it? And now we know what Chris Packham does as his hair hygiene, and that's why his hair is so thick and lustrous. Moving on.